I was a little girl, I knew this life in flesh was just a dream. Not all it was cut out to be. No, 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 no.
Albany is the capital of New York. It's a small city located upstate. Central Avenue was once a thriving commercial district. In the 1980s and 90s, it was the center of gay nightlife, with 7 or 8 gay nightclubs and bars. People would come from all over the capital region to experience a sense of community. Like most American cities, the rise of social media meant a steep decline in nightlife. Today, there are only 2 gay bars left on the avenue: Waterworks Pub and Rocks. In these clubs, drag queens show their art, make people laugh and cry, inspire, share their spirits and their souls. They are the heartbeat and the pulse of gay Albany nightlife. They are Empire State Queens.
Are we filming?
Yeah.
Oh, hi, I'm Raggedy Kandi. Is that it?
She comes from an ordinary town, ordinary people all around. She never felt like no one else, so she moved to the city just to be herself. Now she's a mystic, now she's a witch, now she's a mystic, now she's a witch. She's throwing good vibes all around town, baby. Casting spells of sisterhood and love, throwing good vibes all around town, baby. Casting spells of sisterhood and love.
I used to do a lot of blow, and so my very first drag name, I did an amateur drag competition, and my name was Anita Graham, and I won, and I thought, cool, I must be pretty good at this, let's do it again. But I also didn't want to give away that I was on drugs 24 hours a day, so I thought it would be appropriate to change my name. And then I changed it to Jezebel, because, well, I'm a bit of a slut, so I thought that was fitting. But then I moved to Albany, and I saw the opportunity to like reinvent myself again, and so I became Raggedy Kandi. I feel like she was a little bit more of like a realized thing. But then I realized that I really like stripping. I think deep down, ever since I was like a little child, I've always secretly wanted to be a stripper. I think I'm narcissistic. I really like the attention, clearly. So I found that I really like to do that, and I like to get like push the boundaries farther and farther. So instead of being able to take off as much clothes because you're wearing 10 pairs of pantyhose and 3 couch cushions, you can only get so naked. So I kind of like the idea more now of almost gender bending in a way that I can get as naked as possible but still look like passable and sincere. Alright, so come on in. This is my cute little house. Come on in. Come on in. Like all the fucking way in. The closet's back here. That are not in here, but yeah, I have like everything hung up. I have lots of really ugly clothes. I have like this little mumsy looking thing that like buttons all the way up and has pleats on the top. I like vintagey kind of looking stuff. Well, I think part of the point of drag is to obliterate all of those stereotypes anyways around gender and femininity and masculinity. And I mean, that's what drag is about anyways, you know? So I think, like, clearly drag queens, like, can be and do anything, really. It doesn't take a feminine person to be a drag queen, because that's kind of the point, is you can be a masculine person and be a drag queen. And, like, it says something completely different. Well, because, I mean, we're, like uber feminized, you know what I mean? In different, I mean, every drag queen does it differently, you know what I mean? Like, I have a hairy chest and hairy legs and stuff. But, like, there is a level of, like, exaggeration and over-feminization in some aspects. It's making fun of the role and the rules that society puts on being a woman. It doesn't make fun of the women themselves. It's the idea that, like, women have to wear high heels and buttloads of makeup and tease their hair super fucking big and, like, have lots of volume. Like, it's like picking on that place that we give them, you know what I mean, and make them be. But, yeah, I mean, okay, for example, we used to go to Sandy's Clam Bar. I mean, in drag. And when you go in groups, people don't usually fuck with you too much. I mean, they give you looks and stuff for sure, but I mean, isn't that why you're dressed like that anyways? So, I don't mind the looks so much. I mean, nobody tried to beat us up. Nobody's ever tried to beat me up. I'll say that. Where I live in Albany, I have walked with various amounts of people in varying amounts of dress and undress, and at various times of the night and early morning, and a couple times alone, and I've never had a problem. Nobody's ever said a negative thing to me or tried to harass me in any way. Once I got harassed outside of drag in the neighborhood, but no, never a problem. Cat calls and whistles and people telling us how great we look and how much they love our shoes, but that's about it. Which is pretty fucking awesome, I'll say that.
Just give me one night.
I'm Pacifica Rim, and welcome to the Lakeside Estate. She likes to shop, so don't mind the shopping bags everywhere. And then my domain with all of my stuff, my glamorous bathroom that has like 18 different wallpapers from throughout the decades. And then here is where we have all of the clothes. There's leotards down here, there's a wig there. These are shoes, these are all my bras hanging from antlers. My friend Heather bought me that Piffy sign, evening gowns, everything, feather headdress, awards I've won in Albany up there. This was from the Salvation Army, and it was like $5, and I came across it and I was like, I need this. Like, look at that. Pre-rhinestone and everything, I need that. I was 5 years old, and I was like, I think it was student of the week or something, and you had to put a picture, and you had to write your name, but everybody else had to write, like, your parents had to write this for you, because, I mean, obviously I couldn't spell or shit. I just said M, not my last name. And the best thing about me, if you look right here, is that I am a boy. Dramatic foreshadowing.
13, 15, 14, Geos. I like trio. Class 3-bar harmony. All day, all night, we're singing.
First time I ever did drag, I think I was in 6th grade. I posted a picture of it. I had this awful purple costume wig, and I was wearing a black velvet dress with roses on it. And then my first, like, performance and everything was after I got cast in Rent, the musical, and they wanted me to do drag performances to kind of get my character to be organic and everything, so I understood what Angel was going through when, like, she was getting ready for a show and the whole 9 yards. And I just come from a theatrical background, so people just, facial expressions and everything, and I was just different than anything that they had seen in Albany at that time. Well, in the very beginning, I was so different because I shaved my legs, I was very skinny, I was very, like, bottom heavy, like, legs and ass and half naked, and, like, in between a little bit of, like, androgyny, but very fishy at the same time.
Something about good makes me feel like you're dangerous for us. Something about you makes me wanna do things that I shouldn't. Something about.
A drag mom is typically a drag queen that has done drag longer than the drag daughter and offers, like, tips and tricks and stuff, and is, like, you know, helps you with your makeup and helps you learn how to style hair, teaches you how to sew, makes you garments and what have you. And it's like a very close friendship, and in some cases it's a closer relationship than with your biological mother. I mean, I love my mother to pieces, but Kashi and I are definitely closer than she and I are. Kashi Goleen is my drag mother. And she's one of my biggest inspirations. I look up to her a lot because she just does not give a fuck what people say. She doesn't care what people think. She just does her. She's 100% authentic all of the time, and I envy that. Because I am like that, only I find myself kind of molding myself to please people because I'm a pleaser. And she's just unfiltered. When I was really, really little, my parents didn't quite know what to make of me. They didn't know because they knew I was different. I had this little black nightgown, like I think all kids did in the 90s at least. And then I used to go in and grab my grandmother's pearls, and they'd hear me scoffing, and I could barely walk. And I would be in her heels, and I would come down this hallway. And back then, when that all was going on, there wasn't a lot of research and everything. And so, I wouldn't say they were afraid, but they were definitely, they didn't know what to quite make of me. They knew something was different, but they didn't know what. So they had me go through, like, gender reassignment therapy. The therapist came here, and she took me down swimming, and we had a dock and everything, and the boats and the whole 9 yards, and she was like, I'm going to pick you up, I'm going to throw you in the water, because I was really little. And she's like, you have to pick a superhero to be, and you're going to shout it out when I throw you in the water, and that's who you are. And I'm like, okay, fine, I got you. And so she picked me up, and she threw me in the water. I was like, Wonder Woman! And she's like, no, like, how about Aquaman? Femininity around here is just, people don't know how to deal with that. Mayfield, New York, Fulton County, one of the shittiest counties in all of New York State.
So
Hashtag blessed.
How's this county different than Albany County?
Intelligence level. And tolerance level. Like, I can walk down the street in Albany, and of course people are going to look at me because I'm 18 feet tall and the whole 9 yards, and I'm decked out. But, like, in Albany, people don't look as much. Like, the other night, I was dressed as a cat, and I was walking to the club, and, like, somebody said something about being a cat in Spanish to me, because I took 5 years of Spanish, and I heard the guy. But, like, other than that, that was the only thing that I heard. Like, it wasn't anybody being, what the fuck is that? Because I get that all the time. I'm like, what the fuck is that? A human.
see that wow.
Pacifica rim, everybody!
Sybil's ideal song is 3 minutes, maybe 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Has a beat that goes in like a. I always explain it to people like this. I'm like, I like it to go in 3 pyramids and like an end peak. Like, I want there to be like a high point by like a minute, and then again by minute 45. And then like by 2, and then it has to end on something. Like, that's like an ideal performance song for me. Sybil doesn't have a gender. Like, Sybil's not a sexual. I mean, like, is that skirting the question? Like, I mean, I guess you can have gender and not be sexual, but like, she's like a Barbie in the sense of like, it's just flat. Like, she doesn't have genitalia to identify her as one or the other. Myself doing drag more as an art form now in this part of my life, is it seems to be the only thing that brings together everything that I like to do and have an interest in, either artistically or performance or just freedom of expression. So drag just combines painting for me, dancing, some element of singing in the sense that I get to perform a song, but I don't actually have to sing it out loud. And fashion, styling, costuming, all of that. And you get a little bit of money sometimes that you end up throwing back into it. Or spending more money than you get to do it, but you get the satisfaction of having your art appreciated in real time. People actually do this as like an artistic expression. It's not a confusion of sexuality or, you know, like the shit that like I grew up with made the opinion of people or men who dressed in women's clothing like very, you were perverted beyond gay people in a way. Like, it was like the next worst thing. So like none of it was any good, but like that was even worse in their opinion. Like, I remember when I was like 5, there was like at the church a clothing room where people would donate clothes, and people who were homeless or whatever at the church, they would come in and get work interview outfits. But I took a lot of the costume jewelry, and I remember clipping on one of the clip-on earrings and looking in the pool at my reflection, and I was just like, fuck, like, she's pretty. And like, it was because at that age it was like such a fear that my parents would, I don't know, find out or get mad at me especially if I had the jewelry. But it was like I wouldn't even allow myself to like keep it on long enough to like really look, because I saw it and I was like, I mean, at 5 years old, little boys look like little girls anyways, so you putting an earring on it, it's gonna really look like a queen.
I take my vitamins. I'm naturally a platinum blonde. I just let my hair dry. Pay no attention to the lace on my forehead. This is my hair. This is my hair. This is my hair. This is my hair. I don't wear wigs.
While leaving Waterworks one rainy evening, I decided to take a taxi home. What I originally imagined would be a simple cab ride turned out to be a serendipitous meeting. As I sparked up a conversation about Albany with Lisa, the driver, it became clear that she had deep insights into the nature of drag queens, life, love, beauty, self-creation, and the forging of identity in desolate places.
I grew up in New Orleans in the 80s in a neighborhood full of drag queens. People stand in line in the bank in drag and nobody cares. Nobody gives it a second look. There is so much freedom there. It's intoxicating, you know, just to live vicariously through it, whether you're a member of the gay community or not. I came to Albany because I have family here, and Waterworks, I started going to Waterworks, I think in 88, 89, and Waterworks and Rocks, which was something else before, and I don't remember the name, but they're really oases. Albany is like the desert for color and freedom of expression, you know. There are so many straight people in the area who may not fit into a straight category properly, but they come to Rocks and they come to Waterworks because they're allowed to be whoever they are. They're allowed to have whatever description they want to have, and there are no rules about it. Nobody judges them. If they do, they judge with humor and acceptance as opposed to what they would get somewhere else. So, and that doesn't exist anywhere else up here, you know. I always circulate back. I miss people that aren't there anymore. So I find that I'll go through periods of staying away because I have so much history there that it's sad to walk in and not see people. But I end up circulating back because there's something alive there that doesn't exist anywhere else, you know. And I think feeding that is like the most important thing to do right now. And I think a lot of the drag queens in this area are hyper conscious of that more than any other member of the gay community about feeding that, you know. And I think they're constant reminders and sentinels, you know, just to see that look and to see somebody take a license and be that free with themselves and to be artists, but to be artists in such a daring vein that most people would question it and go, oh, what is that, you know? But there's a beauty to it, you know, and a very unapologetic beauty. So, and I admire that. I think that we're all vulnerable when it comes to beauty, and we are all chasing some elusive butterfly. of what we love and what we think is beautiful, what we'd like to become and what we would like to identify with or catch a hold of in this lifetime. And it is just that. It is whether we are comfortable with our own beauty and the importance of being comfortable with your own beauty and being able to change per your own specs and bear up under anybody's judgment, because the most important judgment you will ever deal with at the end of any day is your own.
Does it take a certain type of person to be able to like date a drag queen or be with a drag queen?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I think you have to one, be able to see through the makeup, you know what I mean, and see the person behind the character that you like actually genuinely have feelings for, you know what I mean? Because they may look different and they may act different because they're putting on, you know, a show, but like you have to understand that that's not them per se. That's not the person, you know what I mean? And I think some people like have a hard time understanding that like this isn't how I am on a daily basis.
I think that they should have a drag queen dating show, because that, to me, I'd watch it. And I'm not even because I do that, but because it is so easy for a beautiful 6'2" Adonis guy who, you know, has an okay personality to find someone. You've got creatures of the evening like myself that play with gender and whatnot, and everything's, you know, mask for mask. They don't get it. They don't understand it. But they want to be your friend so they can get in for free. Like, that's kind of what a dating show I'd like to watch. I'd like to watch a drag queen find love, because it's fucking hard.
And this is what we all talk about. See, everybody, we talk about sharding, we talk about blowjobs, we talk about who's getting in and who's not. Now see, I'm one of the blessed ones. I'm actually, yes I am a married drag queen, which is very, very rare. It's rare because other gay men generally do not date drag queens. When it comes to the gay world, it's like we're the bottom of the barrel.
As far as people are concerned.
Yeah, as far as people are concerned.
Right.
They love to come see us and have a good time, and
But they would never actually date a drag queen.
Yeah, they would never date a drag queen. Well, it's that whole thing, you know, masculine for masculine, no fats, no femmes, and you know, everybody just wants a muscle boy, I guess, and you know, they don't look at.
If I wanted a woman, I would stay with a woman.
Blah, blah, blah.
But bitch, I'm only like this for 3 hours. Trust
and
me.
we do this
comes up, I will roll
to raise
your ass
money
over.
for the community and stuff,
That's
and
what I
it's
was
not
saying, too. Like, this
just
is
to get dressed as a woman.
If you date a performer, it's because you care about that person all around. What they do on stage is because once they're off stage and they're done, everything comes off, and that's the person that you care about.
I am Adolfo Fontan, also known as Isis Vermouth.
Yes, please.
I am from Poughkeepsie, New York. I grew up in the Hudson Valley, and I perform the first Saturday of every month at Rocks in Albany at 77 Central Avenue. When I first started performing, I would take hours to get ready and paint my entire body and put on extravagant costumes and stuff. And I think eventually you come to realize that if a person is not an artist themselves, they're not going to see those details that you're putting into your work. So I think eventually people realize what works for them and what doesn't work, and then you have to like focus in on that. As a performer, I'm not looking to please people. I am looking to incite an emotion. People don't remember you for what you said or what you did or what you wore. They remember you for how you made them feel. So to say that a place is not accepting or not pleasing of you, you have to be happy with yourself as a performer, as an artist, because in the end, you're really pleasing yourself and you're trying to project a message with your performance. If you don't have a message with your performance, then you're really missing out on the point of art. character drag, and I like to get into the different characters, so people forget the kind of person that I am outside of my characters. I love Albany because there's an open platform. And I hate to say it, but if any of the clubs that are in Albany were anywhere else, they would be closed already. So with the format that the clubs in Albany have, it has an opening for someone to come in and to create a night and to have it be profitable. Whereas in another city, you have to have your show and they just need you to do what they need you to do. Here, there's a little bit more leeway to be creative, which has created an evolution of drag in Albany. So whereas it started out as people wanting to be these passable female impersonators, it's more become a stage show, comedy, characters, color, and visual effects rather than just stomping around and lip syncing to a song. So people have brought more of an artistic form to it as to attract more people.
Miss Patty Lee. I've been around for a whole lot of years. I think I'm the oldest living drag queen in Albany.
Now, I remember when you used to come to Phoenix with Lily all the time.
Yes, but I was Miss Phoenix and I was Miss Gay Albany at one point. And I gave that crown up a few years ago, and I'm still coming back and forth to Albany to do different organizations. If they ask me to do an AIDS benefit or I do an ego party, like ISIS asked me to come tonight. I've known ISIS for at least over 10 years, 15 years maybe, and Isis and I have been like family ever since. Well, she always calls me Grandma, which she's the only one I would put up with that from. And the second of all, I feel towards her like she's my granddaughter.
Let's bring the stage my beautiful grandmother. Get out your dollars for her. The one and only Miss Patty Lee!
Thank you, my dear granddaughter. How are you, darling? She was a showgirl, but that was 30 years ago. When they used to be a show, now it's a big show. But not Lola. So the same as she was.
Well, you know, you think there was the Playhouse, Phoenix, Private Eyes. Rave was always incredible on Sunday nights. They're all gone. The community just didn't support them. So now you have the Eagle parties and everybody comes out and they have a great time and they support the club. You could walk from Waterworks to Private Eyes. 2 blocks up was Phoenix. Across the street was Rave. They used to do a Sunday night tea dance. It was $5, all you could drink. And the music was great. It was a little tiny club with these great big speakers. And they'd be out in the street, there were so many people. It's now a garage. They work on cars there. I miss it. It was always great. There's an energy with the Eagle parties that they don't get other nights. Some nights you go in and it's Albany. There's 10 people out. It's a shame. But the Eagle parties, you can say, well attended.
When I won, back to when I won Best New Performer, Ralph, who was the MC at the time, turned around and handed me a huge, like, unbelievable magnum-sized bottle of champagne. It's like the biggest bottle of champagne I've ever seen. I was already liquored off my ass to begin with. And he's like, so what's your name? And sticks the mic in my face, and I'm like looking down. I'm like, ooh, champagne. He's like, and introducing champagne. The rest is history. That's how it stuck. Once everything's on, like right now, I don't feel champagne at all. But once the hair, the dress, everything gets on, then, you know, she kind of comes alive. And there is a kind of distinct difference between personalities, I would say. She's kind of evolved, Champagne's kind of evolved over the years to where it's, Robbie was always the shy one, Champagne was always the loud, boisterous one who could say, do, be, whatever I wanted to be created or think of at the time. Where nowadays, over the years, I've evolved. It's always been, she kind of helped Robbie define his voice. Over the years, she's kind of softened up a little bit, Champagne, but, you know, she used to be kind of hard, but you're making a name for yourself. You're trying to break into what back then was kind of stiff competition. And it wasn't really stiff competition. It was more, okay, you have, you know, 30 performers that are performing in Albany. There's 5 bars. You do the math. When I was first starting out, it was like you had the power and the ability to make that audience laugh, cry, whatever. You held their emotions in your hand. You were in control of their emotions. That was your job, to take them for a ride, to have them forget about their problems and their bullshit outside in their life, to have them come in and be entertained, to give them a show. It may not be Vegas, you know, but it's as close as we're gonna get to where we are, you know.
This is Hazel, Empress of Albany, at Club Cabaret. Hazel was the Empress because Hazel has been doing this since the beginning of time. She knew everybody. She was mother to everybody. She didn't put up with any of our dramas, bullshit, petty little wars, petty shit that was going on between us. You know, she was kind of mother to us all. What she said kind of went down. You know, and everybody respected Hazel because it's not that she demanded it. It's just that she was one of the matriarchs. She was one of the elders, and you kind of respected that. You know, you pay your respect to your elders because you never know what they're going to be able to teach you or that they're going to have your back. Some people don't know that. You go out of your way to help somebody and they slice your throat and you learn your lesson and then you become hard and jaded. Hazel was never like that. Hazel shot straight from the hip, told you exactly how it was, you know, and everybody loved her. It's all the time period, like, for you just getting started, you would just kind of like remember Iodine, but you wouldn't remember Kenny Murray or Lauren Michaels or Mark Papa or Ursula Matthews or Lot Charles or Tisha Dish or Sheila Starr or April Love. You know, those are from like late 80s, early 90s, and then they kind of dropped out, and the younger kids who were just the newbies at the time, which I was one of them, kind of took over, and then we kind of became the matriarchs, you know, and then Iodine and everything kind of followed suit right after me. So then Iodine is kind of picking up, and then she kind of retired, and I'm still doing it.
I'm one of the oldest performing, you know, not age-wise, but the longest ones doing this. I mean, the other one that had me beat was Hazel. You know, I always started doing this when I was 16 years old. I'm 48 now, soon to be 49, you know, so no one's got any time on me, but the biggest fear is you're trying to build a name for yourself, but once you get to the point where you've seen friends, performers, acquaintances, whatever, that have been well known in the community, have been busting their ass, made a name for themselves in the community, and they die, like literally a month later, you turn around and say like, oh, well, you know, I remember when Jack Jackson, you know, did this, or Hazel did that, or, you know, Hazel was the Empress of Albany. It's like, you mentioned that in a show now, and only the older crowd will, well, who the hell's Hazel? And it's kind of sad that people aren't remembered.
Ladies and gentlemen, Empress Champagne!
For me, it's like a if it were this easy, a sheet that I just threw up and dove underneath and then became this character. This veil is thrown over me for Carmie, and for me anyway. It's this blanket, this Linus blanket, you know, this kind of thing that I'm glad to hold on to. I'm thankful that I have it.
6 inches forward and 5 inches back. Hang on, Empress. 6 inches forward and 5 inches back. The train is coming and I'm tired of the track. I'm trying to get up, but I can't get no slack. I got an angry inch.
A lot of queens won't like this, but I'll take the blame for it. I felt that in the way that I viewed things, I felt that Carmie had raised the bar locally by singing live. And nothing against lip syncing. I think that lip syncing is fantastic and it's difficult to do well.
That's right.
But I just felt that I wasn't, for myself, doing all I could do unless I learned to sing. So I said, I'm gonna learn to sing live.
And the other thing that I really did change was, and it is true to this day that this happens, when a drag show, the night of a drag show, and the poster says 10 or 11. Let's just be nice and say it says 11. Well, the show doesn't start until 12:30, 1 o'clock, and they call that drag time. But way back when I would host my benefits or do a show, if I said the show started at 10 o'clock, the show started at 10 o'clock. I got rid of drag time. There was none of that for me, because everything that used to bother me about drag, I decided I'm not going to do that. Just because I put on makeup and, you know, pantyhose and girdles and a dress, just because I did all that, that wasn't going to change me. That wasn't enough to change me. It was the influence from the community that changed me. This unconditional love that just poured over me. I've never felt that before. So it was something that was totally shaped me. That's why it's so easy to give back. I've always said that Carmie Hope is an act. She's, to the community, she's real. And to me, she's real too. But she's a part of me that is so buried and deep from who I am. You know, I'm not an optimistic person by nature, I'm pessimistic. You know, so I have all this other side that kind of is dominant. The male side of me, or it's not even male, but it's the other part of me that makes Carmie Hope the act to me. See, she's not an act to everybody else, because she's not. She's not. Like I said, you know, I am optimistic as Carmie Hope. I have all the confidence in the world as Carmie Hope. I have none when I'm, you know, in my pair of jeans and a shirt at work.
On my own, but when I'm down and feeling blue, I close my
Growing up, I was the shyest person in school. I didn't talk to anybody. I hung out and sat and talked to the school nurse all day when I wasn't in class. And in college, I started talking to people. I was a little better. But if I went to a club, I would never, ever think of going out into a dance floor until it was packed. Now it's Freida. I will go out. And then I started doing Freida. I'll go out in the middle of the floor by myself and just shake it. I don't care. And now I'm finding after like 10 years of doing Freida, I started to do that as me. So Freida has brought me totally out of my shell. Totally changed my personality. Made me a better person. Made me realize that there's a different ways to, made me be more diverse. Made me appreciate people more. And it made me appreciate very shy people more, because I've been there. My style, it evolved. I mean, at first it was whatever I could find to fit me. Because when I started, I think I weighed like 350. Mine is for, it's flashy, but it's comfortable. I love color, and I don't always match. Who cares? So I try to like pick and choose events. There are several events that I do every year. Every Easter I have my Easter parade. We do an Easter parade. What we do is we have a brunch at Rocks, and then I have a bonnet contest, and then we have a Easter egg hunt, and then we have and we do the bunny hop, and then we all go in front of Rocks and we walk to the park and we do a runway show at the monument in the park, and then we walk back. So it's not even an Easter parade, it's an Easter walk, if you will. The best thing about doing drag, to me, is the fact that I get to entertain people. Like I have done it a few times, to going out just to be in drag, just to be seen, maybe to drum up business for a future show or anything, but to me the best part is making people laugh and smile and be happy. The worst part is getting ready. Because you got all the foam and the birdseed and the hair and Spanx and pantyhose, and so the process. But once I'm ready, I'm happy I do it. But every time, right before we start, I almost always, I don't want to do this today. This is another thing about drag, though. There are some drag queens, when they're out of drag, they don't like to call their drag name. And that's understandable. I get that. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't, everybody calls me Freida. At work, when I worked, I retired from the state. When I worked for the state, every year I used to give a Christmas card with a picture of Freida on it. And you would walk through and there would be a picture of a drag queen on everybody in the tax department's desk, which was really cool. Because it is a pretty stark change. It is a pretty stark change. I mean, I kind of look like my mom, but I don't look like me at all. At all. There's so many people out there who just won't accept differences. And it's sad, because they're missing out on a lot of good people. And it would be like gay people saying, I don't like to be around straight people. I have a lot of straight friends, and I love them, and they're great people, and everybody brings something to the table, I always thought. But everybody else, most of my family have seen shows that I've been in. My mother, before she died, she was at a lot of shows. And I am my mother. She used to grab the mic and sing with me, which is a great memory.
This song is a song my mom used to sing to me. It was written probably before most of you were born, and it's a ballad. I'm going to do one ballad. We need some schmaltz here and there. And this is all for you and for love. Give a little, take a little, and let your old heart break a little. That's the story of, that's the glory of love. You gotta laugh a little.
I did not come here until I was 29 years old. And when I moved here, I've never been here, ever. I'm from Troy. I've never been to Albany. When I came here, there was just something about it. It was a whole different group of people, you know? It was like moving from, I don't know, I want to say from here to New York City. It's big, it's different, it's, ooh, and I've never seen so many gay people in my life, ever. So I'm like, ooh, I'm home. But I still didn't fit into any of the groups. I wasn't an otter, I wasn't a bear, I wasn't a twink, I wasn't this, I wasn't that. I was looking for, you know, that's why I chose drag. Because it was something I could do, that I'm good at, and fit in. But when I heard about it in Albany, I actually went to Collides and 8 Ball, and there was Hazel, there was Sherry Love, Iodine. This is what these girls today didn't get a chance to say. Ultimate glam. I mean, Sherry came out, Iodine came out, Hazel came out. I think there was a guy named Billy, I'm not sure. But head to toe, glam. Did not lose character. And Hazel, who is the Empress. Have you ever met Hazel? She was, if she didn't like you, she would tell you. But if she liked you and talked mean to you, that means you have potential. You were going to be somebody. And she would always nurture everyone, always give advice, never turn anyone down. Iodine, the best. Sherry, those are the 3 that these girls today missed out on. If they had watched those girls, I mean, they would probably, not that I would want them to change anything, but at least have a good foundation to work off of. I mean, the idols are gone. They're absolutely gone. This is what I want to see these girls do. I don't want to see them stagnate here in Albany. I mean, come on, take it to where you want it to go. You know, don't just feel obligated to work here. You've got the look, you've got the style, you've got the talent. You could be anyone you want to be.
I had a dream, a wonderful dream, Papa. All about you in the Orpheum circuit. Give me a chance, I know I can work it. I had a dream, just as real as it can be, Papa.
And like, I have very good relationships with some older queens. Like Amanda Love, I look up to her. I love her. I live for everything she does. She's an absolute sweetheart. She's not judgmental at all.
Oh, most of the times my makeup is done by Amanda Love, the fabulous Amanda Love. You see this picture right here? This was Freida Munchon at her first Pride. And makeup and outfit made by Amanda Love. She made the dress.
Because Amanda Love is just, she's born to perform. She's the natural center, the natural focal point, you know? She just draws that kind of attention.
It was funny because Amanda Love came from exactly that. I was talking to somebody, I said, all I'm looking for is a man to love. And I go, holy shit, there's my drag name, Amanda Love. And you always know your drag name because you feel it when you say it. Are you a ballad queen? Are you a disco queen? Are you a punk queen? Are you a comedy queen? You know, we each have our own thing. And it shouldn't matter at all. I mean, if anyone has a diverse community, it is the drag queens. Because there are so many different ones of us. Me, I'm a MILF. Okay, I am a total MILF. If you've seen some of the stuff I've worn, tight skirts, low cut, high heels, fishnet stockings, teased hair. I'm a MILF. She's seductive. She's not slutty. She tries to be seductive as much as my linebacker body allows me to move in a pair of heels. Most of my stuff is, I do some 90s stuff, like Pussycat Dolls, I've done Carrie Underwood, blah, blah. But my main thing is Linda Eder. I love doing Linda Eder.
Life's not worth a damn till you can shout. Hey world, I
All people are pretty durable. I think you have to realize that life doesn't necessarily pull punches, and sometimes the more capable you are of seizing the moment and training to seize the moment, the better your life is going to be. Yes, there are extenuating circumstances for different people's personal case-by-case stories, but I think by and large, at least providing the opportunity for them to, to say something they need to say, or to deal with something they need to deal with, it's very life-giving, and it's addicting to me to witness that and see somebody do that and watch them change in front of me, and all of a sudden there's this whole other facet to them that you wouldn't have known was even there,
Look in the mirror. You run yourself completely ragged. If you had some sense, take some time to treat yourself. Ooh, girl, you work from 9 to 5, 5 days out of 7. You've been too good, girl, but always for someone else. Give yourself hell when you deserve some heaven. You come to stop decision, help you treat yourself. You gotta know yourself, and what makes you feel alright. You gotta be yourself, The least you're gonna goddess, yeah. You've been up all night, burning the midnight fire, all for the boss who don't appreciate ya. Get your act together, girl, 'cause your case is dire. Put a dress on and hit the salon. You gotta know yourself, and what makes you feel alright. You gotta be yourself, The least you're gonna goddess, yeah. You gotta know yourself and what makes you feel right. You gotta take a sick day, do nothing but play, unwind, don't be uptight. You gotta treat yourself and don't hate yourself. Don't hate yourself and don't hate yourself. Don't hate yourself and don't hate yourself. Treat yourself and don't hate yourself. Don't hate yourself and don't hate yourself. Don't hate yourself and don't hate yourself. Treat yourself and don't hate yourself. Don't hate yourself and don't hate yourself. Don't hate yourself and don't